Pasuk Hey. Vaydaber Korach v'kol hadoso lemor. Moshe responds to them. They're claiming kulanu kadoshim. We're all holy. We're all qualified to be the Kohanim. So Moshe says, Boker v'yod Hashem es hashalo. When morning will come, God will make known who's the one who's chosen to be the Kohen, Zakorosh, and the one who's holy, V'ikreilov, and he will bring that person close to him. Yivchar bo yakrevelov, and the one who as God has chosen, he will bring close to him. Okay? So Rashi says, why Boker? I mean, the test of fire, which were the fire pans with the incense, he should have said immediately, let's take the fire pans now, and God will verify who's the one who's qualified, who's not qualified. What did he say tomorrow morning? Ato e shikru sulonu. Moshe was saying to them, now it's time we just ate. It's a time we drink. People drink. It's inappropriate for us to present ourselves before Hashem. And therefore it's not appropriate we should do anything which has any relevance to the service, serving Hashem. But his intention was really to push them off. Maybe right now they're not thinking rationally. Give them a little time to understand what the consequences of the behavior will be, because only one person is going to survive. Of 251 people, only one person is going to survive. And anybody in his right mind, if you have any level of stability, who's going to put himself in this position? You have a 250 to 1 chance that you're not going to survive. But yet, they were so bent about Moshe creating his own scenario, his own script, and trying to convince them that it's the word of Hashem, they lost sight of rational thinking. So Moshe felt, I'll push them off till tomorrow. Maybe they'll think about it overnight, and they'll come to their senses. Hashem will reveal who is qualified for the Avodas HaLeviyah, because the Leviim were chosen in the place of the Bechorim. Now, it's interesting. We find by the Tzfardea, by the plague of the frogs, Paro summons Moshe, and he says to him, the frogs are croaking, they're all over, they're in their homes, they even went into their intestines. And Paro calls, Moshe says, remove this plague from us, remove this death. So Moshe says to Paro, when do you want it to be removed? So Paro says, tomorrow, machar. I mean, if actually you're suffering to such a degree, and you're referring to it, take away this death, because the croaking was driving them mad. Why tomorrow? Why not right now? It's an obvious question. But it's obvious. Most people don't ask the obvious question, right? But it's obvious. Here I say it's excruciating, intolerable. So Moshe says, so when should I remove it? Tomorrow. That's Paro's response. Why not now? So the Sephardo over there explains that Paro had believed that the base for the plagues was witchcraft, was sorcery. When it comes to sorcery, whenever you cast that and you make the incantation, the sorcery has to run its course. And once it runs its course, it ceases to be. Paro himself suspected Moshe that he's a sorcerer, and the frogs came about as a result of sorcery. So if he would say now, this moment, that would clearly confirm it's not sorcery. Paro did not want to be forced into a position that he must accept that there is a monotheistic being, that God dictates his life. However, if it's tomorrow it's a whole different question. Maybe the reason why it ceased tomorrow is because maybe it ran its course. It's not a confirmation that there's a God, that he withdrew it. If he says now, it's worth to suffer this intolerable mental, emotional, physical pain for another few hours rather than be forced and have my whole position of paganism being refuted. That's the reason why I said machar, not now. That's from Paro's side. Machar, not now. Over here, they say we deserve. He says we're gonna have a test of fire, the fire pans with the incense. Only one person is gonna survive. 250, 251, you're not gonna survive. He says, but tomorrow. Tomorrow. Why not now? It's the same, it's an obvious question. So in a certain way, by saying tomorrow, he'll say, Moshe's intention was push them off. Now they're not thinking rationally. Tomorrow, maybe they'll think it over and they'll realize their position is ridiculous and insanity. But the other way, Korach could convince him, say, something just the other way. If actually this is the test, if I will prove it, let's do it right now. Why tomorrow? So again, he's just pushing us off. Korach could use what Moshe's intention was positive for their sake. The halach is, the Sanhedrin, whenever they issue a ruling of the death penalty, although they make the count at night, they have to stay up the whole night before. They give the verdict in the morning, discussing the case. They have to sit on it. It says they have to let it become chometz. They delay judgment. Why? Because you never know. Initially, although you're convinced the man is guilty, by reflecting on it, you may realize there's some point which they overlooked and the man is innocent. So you give them the night to think about it, to be sure that the position is correct and definite, the man is definitely guilty. That's what Moshe is doing. Boker, think about it. Right now, you may be caught up in this frenzy, you're upset, whatever it is, Korach touched you a certain way, but you realize how ridiculous it is, because even if you're right, if this test of fire will prove, and there's only be one person to survive, why are people getting involved over here? I mean, what On Ben Peles was told by his wife, he says, whoever the leader is going to be, whether it's Korach or Moshe Rabbeinu, who are you going to be? You're going to be the same nobody. So what are you getting involved in this fracas, in this mutiny? Ultimately, you're only going to get hurt and you have nothing to gain. That was On Ben Peles' wife's good advice to him. These people over here, Moshe is saying to them, whoever is going to survive, it's going to be one out of 251. Doesn't make any sense. The answer is when you're caught up in a frenzy, you're upset with Moshe, and Moshe is deluding you and fooling you and so on and so forth, you don't think rationally. Boker. Think about it until morning. That was Moshe's intent. But you could turn it the other way. Why not now? The answer is because Moshe is scheming and you never know. So there's always two ways to see the same thing. You could see it as the most positive, or you could put it in a negative lens and say, no, this proves Moshe Rabbeinu is just trying to push us off.
Before Rav goes on, the other place, why didn't he say Machar?
By Paro.
Yeah.